Welcome to London's most popping show, where we highlight the Forest City's incredible talent, share their stories, and explore their minds at the coolest spots across the city. This is We Out Here with Big Lou.
What's up, my crew? My name is Big Lou, and I'm standing outside of Palisade Social Bowl. This is at 777 Adelaide Street North, and they're known for having good food, good drinks. They got pool, they got a whole bunch of different kinds of games, and of course, live music. Today's episode is very special. I'm gonna be talking to Justin Maki. Fun fact about Justin Maki is that him and I, as well as a couple of other artists, are gonna be putting on a show here on July 26th, a little bit later on in the month. But for now, let's go check out the space. Woo! After you. Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you, my dude.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Let's grab a seat right here.
Let's do it.
All right. What's up, my crew? I am now sitting down with Justin Maki. We're about to start the interview. It's been a long time coming. I'm not going to pretend like I haven't been seeing him so frequently because we are working on a couple of different projects. But before I talk to you a little bit more about that, why not let him introduce himself a little bit more, and then we'll get into that conversation. So, Justin, tell us a little bit more about you. You've been a musician for quite some time.
Correct.
But I actually discovered you as a performer. I came to a couple of your shows, and it's just the energy that was over the top. Your talent vocally, with your guitar, and in terms of how you engaged the audience, I thought was tremendous. Especially coming out of London, because a lot of people have like that feeling that London doesn't really produce quality talent, and that's far from the case from what you're doing. So before I even give you the table, I just want to say thank you for all that you are contributing to the art community here. I think it's important to give people their flowers, and you are definitely creating an impact in the community.
Amazing.
Yes.
I'm glad to hear that. Hello, everybody. My name is Justin Maki, and I'm a flirtatious jazz pop artist out of London, Ontario, Canada. I'm also a musician, and I call myself a creative entrepreneur, constantly seeking out the next opportunity creatively to pursue. I've been doing music for about 10 years professionally now, and about 3 years full-time. Very, very grateful to be able to be doing music full-time, that there's a market for what it is that I do. I sort of straddle the line between professional corporate musician and artist. And I've been very fortunate to be able to travel all over Canada, to Mexico, to Europe, to spread the joy of music, because really that is my purpose in life, is to inspire joy through music creation and performance. That's what I know that I'm here on earth to do, and I'm very grateful that I get to live out that purpose every day, with London, Ontario being my home base.
London's super happy to have you. I'm certain of that. And you said that you're grateful to have found your purpose, your passion. You've been doing this for about 10 years full time, 3 years fully music. So there's a little bit of struggle there. I'm gonna just assume, first and foremost, figuring out that it is your purpose, your passion, because life happens, and I know that it can like sway you and maybe even like question your path. And then 3 years ago is COVID. So like making that transition during that period is probably tough as well. So can you share a little bit more about those experiences?
For sure. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I would say it was January of 2019, I was working at a car dealership here in London full-time. So I was doing that full-time and doing music full-time, I like to say. And I wasn't 100% satisfied with where I was at in my life. And I knew that I was meant to do more. I knew that I was meant to kind of break out of the norm of the everyday life that I had been experiencing.
But how do you know? Like, is a body feeling?
Well, I just knew that I needed to check in with myself, right? Yeah. So I sat down with myself one evening in January of 2019, and I set out a piece of cardboard, and I just, without judgment, without reservation, I just kind of asked myself very transparently and frankly, what it is that I wanted to do with my life. Because I was 25 at that point. I wasn't getting any younger. I wanted to be in a position where when I'm 90 years old and I'm looking back on my life, I want to know that I gave it my all, and I want to have as few regrets as possible. The conclusion that I came to in doing that exercise was that I wanted to do music full time. I wanted to, in reality, I wanted to travel the world on the tail of my own artistry. So I kind of created a 3-tier goal system for myself. One was to just do music full time. I didn't really care what the sources of income were. They just all had to come from music. And the second was to basically transition from doing, more cover gigs to just doing artist things.
Right. And
to travel the world sharing that artistry with people and to make a plentiful living doing so. So I'm kind of working on that second tier as we speak. And then the third tier was really just worldwide recognition. And
you're taking it global.
I sort of gave myself 5 years. I said, by the time I turn 30, I'm going to take a serious look at the progress that I've made. And if I haven't really made much progress, then maybe I consider changing my path. Because I felt my mindset at that point was, at 30, it's not really too late to change directions.
Absolutely.
And to make a significant amount of progress in another career.
Absolutely.
Right? And I know that I'm capable of doing lots of other things, but I really had to just check in with myself and think, what is it that I'm truly here to do? What am I meant to do? And what is going to serve my strengths the best? So I kind of like I said, I decided I was going to do music full time, right? And I was still working at the dealership, and there was still a part of me that was tied to the dealership. I wasn't ready for that leap of faith yet. And so, about a year went by, right? About a year went by, and then the pandemic was brewing, right? And so in March of 2020, I got laid off from that job. But that whole period of time, I was sort of getting ready to make my exit from the dealership. And you could tell because my sales were going down and I wasn't putting as much focus and effort into the dealership. I can use this opportunity to really create the foundation of a full-time music career.
Cool.
Right? So, I was working tirelessly every day and I was loving every minute of it because there wasn't really at that point any risk involved until September hit. The month prior to September, in August, I sort of called up the dealership and I was like, hey guys, like what's going on here? So I kind of poked the bear a little bit. And so it pushed them to make the decision to lay me off permanently.
Oh, gotcha.
And then it became real. Then it became
a bit more of a blessing though still.
Right, I guess so, but in September of that year, I got the news that I was laid off from my job. I mean, during the summertime, because we could do stuff outside regardless of restrictions, I was still fairly busy gigging wise.
Got you.
But
that's lucky.
As the fall and the winter were approaching and the restrictions were constantly changing, it was a very scary position to be in because I had gigs booked and then they would be canceled, and I had gigs booked and then they would be canceled.
Yeah.
So I had no guaranteed income coming in. So there was that, and then I had sort of a romantic relationship that kind of fell through the cracks, and so all these things culminated in me going into a sort of depression, going into a low point.
Yeah, fair.
And that was very difficult to navigate. I definitely took a few steps back, and I got the help I needed, and I'm fine now. But it was very hard. It was very hard. But despite me going through a tough time mentally, instead of like most people, they would just kind of incubate and maybe watch Netflix and not do anything, be lazy. Yeah. And let their sadness consume them, I was still determined to do music every day, even though it wasn't at my full capacity because I wasn't fully there.
Yeah.
Right?
A little bit is better than nothing.
Yeah. So looking back, I take that as a sign to say that in good times and bad, music is always there for me, and I'm committed and determined to make and share music.
How far are you to the 5-year goal?
Yeah, I would say I'm about 40% there. I've pretty much decided I'm going to keep going because I'm getting really good results. Yeah. And I'm able to do music full time, and I'm able to, in a lot of cases, make more money being a creative entrepreneur than the average salary. Right. and I get to, and in a lot of cases I'm working 10, 12, 14 hours a day, but I love what I'm doing. And I just want to bring a quality musical experience to my clients or fans or potential clients, potential fans. And, you know, it takes a lot of work to get there. But like I said, I love what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And I know that the work that I'm investing right now will pay off in the future, and so I might not need to put in a volume of work in the future to get the same or a better result.
So how did you develop this mindset?
What do you mean?
Putting in the work now for little to no pay, with the intention of maybe getting rewarded down the road. Because to a lot of people that's crazy. To you and I, that's the only option. You know.
Well,
We didn't always think that way. At least I didn't. There was a bit of an experience for me. I was wondering if you ever had something like that. Like, I need to change this and this and this so that I can develop this and this and this and achieve this.
Well, I think the mindset comes from having a unshakable self-confidence about what the future will hold.
So were you always super confident?
Oh, no. I think developing that unshakable self-confidence is a matter of constantly facing your fears and to constantly put yourself in a position to face challenges and to face obstacles so that those challenges and obstacles and fears become less scary. And, you know, I once heard from a piece of content from Mr. Brad Lee, who's a sales guru that I follow. He said, confidence is the memory of winning. So if I'm able to accumulate and stack wins, no matter how small, then I can develop more confidence in what I do and have that self-assuredness that what I do brings value to people. And now that I'm in a position to know that what I do brings value to people, I can feel confident in asking for a certain amount of money. Right. I can feel confident in doing reach outs and knowing that they're going to get a certain quality product or certain quality service. Yeah, that mindset really just comes from putting myself in the fire over and over and over again so that I almost develop a tolerance for that fire, that I become one with the fire.
I like that.
So
one with the fire.
Yeah.
It's true though, and it really transforms everything else in your life, let alone just your work. But speaking of work, what are you working on right now?
I mean, I'm doing a lot of like private gigs, corporate gigs at the moment, but in the midst of that, some notable projects that I'm working on right now are a recently released single called Find Your Flow that I did with a collaborator by the name of Dallas Waldo out of Turkey Point.
Turkey Point.
Yeah,
Check
Turkey
out,
Point,
Dallas
Ontario.
Waldo.
Yeah, a small little town, big beach. Yeah, and it's been really well received so far, and you know we're still kind of putting it out there every once in a while. It's been just over a month since we released it, and people have really been resonating with it. And upcoming in less than a week, but by the time this podcast comes out, it'll be out a single with a fellow collaborator by the name of You, Big Lou.
By the name of You.
It's called Time With You.
That's right.
And that one's coming out July 9th. Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for that. It's gonna be fantastic. We look forward to blessing your ears with that song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about that song. What is one memory that you have from creating that song? It can be at the beginning. It can be near the end.
Sure. One memory. Well, I really enjoyed the process of like writing that song in the moment with you when we were on that Zoom session. I think it was maybe the first Zoom session. And I was sort of building out the track in Logic, and I think that's when I came up with the hook. You know, I came up with
we were just talking. I think I said the words and you sang the words. Or you
Sure, I don't know how it came up with. But I came up with the melody in the moment, and I laid down, you know, this groovy preliminary beat, and I just remember like inviting my brother into the room, and like we were all vibing, and like we were going nuts because we were like, this is a hit, man. This is a hit. People are gonna love this. And that was, I would say, probably my favorite memory of the creation process.
That was maybe, I think, 3 months after I left London to
Okay.
go back home.
Right.
So like I was in a bit of a funk, talking about depression earlier. I was definitely not in a good place. But having written that song, that was kind of the beginning of coming to terms with it, or I guess having the cloud pass over. So it was a cool time as well. And that's almost 18 months ago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of people don't realize how much time it really takes to turn around a song,
Yeah.
from initial creation to release. You know, there's a lot of things at play, and you know, of course, you can. We have the tools to be able to write a song in a day, record it the next day, and
Sure.
and
You could
upload
do that.
it the next day, and you know, you could do that, right? And maybe it's up within a few days.
Yeah.
But it's rushing the process, and you know, it's like I'm not really down for that. I'm sort of at a point in my career. I want to prioritize quality over quantity, and you know, I mean, still be writing a good quantity of songs, but not putting out every single one.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Right?
It's a business
In
after
a
all.
world where, you know, 75,000 songs are going out a day on streaming and downloading platforms, and I don't know what the actual figure is now, but
Yeah.
it's around that.
It's crazy.
The point is that there's a lot, right? There's a lot of content going out. It's like, how do you set yourself apart from the average mediocrity
the
of
noise.
most tracks?
Yeah.
Well, my approach is to create something of quality that I think is going to resonate with people.
Absolutely.
But aside from those 2 singles, we have a show coming
got a
up
show.
on July 26th,
July
here at
26th.
Palisade Social Bowl. Get your tickets.
Right here.
Yeah, so right here, July 26th, Wednesday, 6:30 to 10:30 p.m., featuring Big Lou, Dallas Waldo, Amanda Movio, and my band. It's going to be a fantastic time. We're calling it Sonic Serenade Twin Track Unveiling.
That's right. So we'll be doing this here, 6:30 to 10 on Wednesday night.
That's great.
You
That's
have
right.
absolutely no excuses if you're working, because it's ending at 10 p.m. You're either going to be, you know, hanging out on your couch watching TV, or hanging out here with us,
That's right.
having so much more fun.
That's right. That's right. We're and we got a whole a very stacked evening for you. Like I said, the lineup is incredible. Lots of local London artists are going to be hitting that stage, and it's going to be a night to remember, for sure. So make sure you grab your tickets, and grab them soon, because the ticket prices are going up on a weekly basis, and you want to grab those at a decent price. And then, I mean, aside from that, I have a tour coming up in September. I'm going on a tour with my Fleetwood Mac duo
Oh, sick.
in
Okay, cool.
September
Yeah.
for about 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
And we'll be going through Alberta and BC, so I'm really stoked for that. We're just in the midst of re-preparing for the show, because
Right.
you know, it's
You did
like
that in Mexico.
right, we did that
that
in Mexico in January.
January this
So
year.
it's been a while since we've kind of performed, and so we have a few performances leading up to it, which will operate as like paid practices, but we're in the midst of preparing a more enticing set. Yeah.
It's evolved since January.
Right.
Okay, so you also went to the Netherlands, Europe, you said.
Yeah.
And you were in Mexico.
Right.
All of this happened in the last couple of months.
Yeah, the beginning of 2023 was incredibly busy, for sure. So it started off with me in January going to Mexico with the Fleetwood Mac duo, the local singer Megan Schroeder, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, and that was a lot of fun. That was the second time that we actually went to Mexico to perform.
So you're internationally out here now.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you could say that.
From London to the world.
There's more out there than just London, Ontario. But I mean, London, Ontario is a great home base.
Yeah, of
you
course,
know,
of course.
But it's like you gotta, venture out, see what else is out there.
Well, you're an ambitious person. You got some big goals. Sometimes you got to step out of your home place.
Oh, for sure.
To reach those.
For
There's
sure.
nothing wrong with that. And even still, you're helping elevate the London art scene while you're out there.
I was just in Mexico, and then I went to Halifax for a release show, and then I went to Nashville for a few weeks. And then after that, I was just kind of hanging out here, but for a few months.
Prepare for the next step.
Preparing for the next steps,
Okay,
right?
so you're spending a lot of time here in London now. What do you think London requires, maybe in the next 6 months, in the next 5 years even, for the art scene in itself to develop?
I think, frankly, what is required is a greater proliferation of different sizes of venue that facilitate original music.
Yeah.
Because frankly, if you want to call yourself a music city, you need artists and you need platforms for artists to perform. And I think, we have Palisade, we have Rum Runners, / London Music Hall. We have Budweiser Gardens, right? But these are massive music venues. And I think it would really benefit to have music venues that accommodate every level of artist, right? So that artists have the opportunity to start somewhere,
to develop,
and then move up and move up and move up, right? Because it's like most artists in London are not going to play at the Budweiser Garden, right?
That's why they have to leave.
Right.
Ironic.
Right. So I would say that's the biggest area of opportunity in London right now.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what Corey Crossman and London Music Office is doing to facilitate a music scene in London, Ontario. I think they've gone a long way, but as far as the next steps, I think it's creating more spaces for artists to perform that are specifically original music focused. There's a lot of cover stuff that exists all over the place.
That promotes almost a different culture.
Right.
A subculture. It's not bad.
So that's what I would say is, if I had to say one thing, that's the biggest area of opportunity right now.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, no, it's been a fantastic time. I want to wrap it up there because we've got a lot of other things to do. But don't forget that we out here. We've got other elements of the show, and I'm going to be introducing that to you real soon. So stay tuned.
When I get up and roam, or would you rather hit snooze? Pretend like it's vacate. Me and my baby, you love when you're naked, and all that you do.
Justin, we're done. Yes.
This is We Out Here with Big Lou.
We Out Here with Big Lou is an independent production coming out of London, Ontario, executive produced by Big Lou and Brad Beard Studio.